Hey guys, welcome back to Puff Loud, welcome back to Café Enchanté, and welcome back to DROMI's bullshit. We are going to run to Ignis, I think, and at least try to save him. I mean, save this freaking clan, save everybody. Oh god, let's just get right into it.
さーて、じゃ、常連さんたちが立ち回ってる間に俺もおいとまするっすかね。ああ、楽しみだな。もうすぐっすよ、兄貴。
Why? Soon what? Soon what? What's gonna happen? What's happening? Oh god. I dashed towards the stronghold, noticing the setting sun plunging Pestia into darkness. I alone illuminated the darkness as I cut through the frigid air, running as fast as my legs would take me. The flames covering my body flared wildly, mirroring the chaos that stormed inside me. The firewolves had suffered enough, especially at my hands, and I couldn't let their numbers dwindle anymore. I've been lied to my entire life. I was feared. I was used. It all felt heavy on my shoulders, for sure. I felt betrayed. But even so, they were still my kin, the last of my people. This time, I would protect them. This time, I would save their lives. All my hopes and convictions. No! Disintegrated in my palm. My eyes were fixated on the scene, a familiar sight I had long since buried. Huts and bodies charred as the firewolf torches waned in the distance. Blood and soot soaked in the snow. Not a single firewolf was spared. All of them were killed? The man I called uncle all these years tumbled onto the ground, disposed of, forgotten. What I saw there instead were the Minotaurs, hacking at their opponents relentlessly, showing no mercy to whomever stood in their way. Their eyes, they were clouded, disgusting. As soon as they noticed their presence, their eyes bulged open. My vision went red. My heart was ready to burst from my chest. Searing heat covered my body, and sensation that radiated from my body's core. If I were to give in to this heat, there could only be one outcome. Run, just run the other direction, Ignis! Jesus Christ, let somebody else handle it!
In the future, violence doesn't have to be the answer. I want to believe. In the future where we live in peace.
You love my flashback voice? But it was useless. I was submitting to my base self. Yes. I remember now. Each time that I lost my sanity, or came close to doing so, it involved the smell of blood. No. An appetizing aroma filled my nostrils, consumed my waking thought. My rampage instinct lay dormant inside me, crying out its cravings. It commanded me. It wanted me to feed upon every living being in sight. Oh no. Oh god. Eel managed to dodge, the Minotaur's swinging arms one after another. We flew out from the cave as I hugged Kororo tighter against me, and we were lifted into the cold Bestian sky.
なんとか逃げ切れましたか。
Just as Eel squinted his eyes, we heard flames erupt in the distance. To neither of our surprise, we glanced over to the direction of the sound. Right beneath us, the firewolf stronghold glowed a faint shade of crimson. Don't tell me. Was it?
他の魔獣に襲撃を受けたようですね。おそらくイグニスもあの場にいるのでしょう。
Eel, we have to go there too!
申し訳ありませんが、その願いは聞き入れられません。今の私にあなたを護衛できる能力は残っていません。このままアンシャンテのゲートに避難します。
But Ignis!
大丈夫です。彼の実力ならば敗北することはありえないでしょう。ですから。
Eel's eyes shot open. We felt an intense rate of heat, one that couldn't normally occur in such a frozen world, coming from below. Eel let out a sharp gasp, shifting his weight mid-flight to avoid it, but his trembling wings were slow to react. Oh, Lord. A giant storm of flames surrounded us. Eel? Eel's wings were exposed and burnt by the raging flames exploding below. I heard Eel cry out in agony before my vision became suddenly blurry. We dropped into the flaming maelstrom, down into the firewolf stronghold. Oh. God, I hope that wasn't them. If that was them, I think they died. Wee-oo, this is your Puffalata trigger warning. So, as we saw earlier, Ignis loses his shit. He gets very violent. It's pretty graphic, actually. So, if you don't like blood, if you don't like just... It's graphics. If you don't like graphic stuff, just skip to the time shown on the screen. There is a CG in here. There's a picture get. So if you want to see what that is, you can just look it up online. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you look up Ignis's CGs in total. But yeah, it's pretty bad. So for those of you who are okay with seeing it, brace yourself. Oh God. Oh no! A small distance away, Kororo laid there, passed out. We fell from quite a height, but somehow both Kororo and I survived the fall. Luckily, neither of us were seriously hurt. I spotted Eel lying unconscious beside me. It seemed as though his quick reaction was more than enough to spare us our lives, for which I felt immense gratitude.
申し訳ありません。お怪我はありませんか?
I'm alright, but you're...
この程度なら人間界に戻れば回復します。それよりもまずは状況の把握を。
Well, things are not looking good. At Eel's prompting, I surveyed around us. Judging by our immediate surroundings, we landed within the firewolf stronghold. However, the horror began to set in, and I recognized no part of the secluded, humble stronghold in the chaos. It was a massacre. A force that left no stone unturned. All-consuming and deadly. Oh, picture get? A flaming tempest that ate all in its path. I watched as red sparks bounced off of armor, swallowed by snow. The white wonderland was painted with colors of a grisly, brutal nature. Oh, it is picture get. A hot wind, fanned by the flames, carried with them a strong stench of iron. What is this? That has to be his arm. What's going on? The scent of which wafted from the trampled corpses lining the snow. Oh God, is that Ignis? At the center of it all was... Oh, fuck! Oh, no! Picture get! Oh, no! No, no, no! The curt, heavy-handed, but most of all, kind Ignis. He and his aura shone a brilliant red. It was as he was bathed in the blood of his foes. But how could that be? Relative to his ghastly appearance, there weren't too many corpses. What happened to all the others? Where did the blood come from? Little by little, I urged my trembling self onward to look further up. The answer was right there. His mouth. Thick, viscous trails of blood dripped from the corners of his lips. When I looked closer, it looked as though he bit onto something into his mouth. And after chewing a couple times, he gulped it down. Without having to think, my instincts told me exactly what I was looking at. Choked with fear, I could hardly muster a loud scream, but he managed to pick up on what little sound I did make. After subtly twitching his nose, as if in reaction to my scent, his dreamy eyes darted over to me, a sharp, focused glance. He eyed me with a predatory gaze, like I was a delicious meal. Oh, fuck! Oh, God! Just as Ignis took a step forward, readying to lunge at me, the surrounding snow around him melted and evaporated, as if devoured by him. I gasped out of panic, and his body burst into flame. Eel stepped in front of me, but he had already used up all of his strength and was at his body's limit. He stood in front of the menacing wolf, who had marched up to us without fear. The wolf laughed savagely. No! No! Eel! No! He dug his claws into his defenseless prey. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. No! Oh my god, is Eel gonna fucking die? Splashes of red dispersed through the air. Eel's slender body was shredded and eviscerated by the frightening inferno. His angelic body dropped, face down, into a pool of his own blood. Oh my god! Blood soaked his body and drenched the clothing around his inanimate self. He fell atop the crumpled remains of his black and white feathers. There was no hint of color or familiar in Ignis's eyes as the wolf looked coldly at his comrade. I couldn't even scream. Alas, I was falling apart. I was ready to collapse. Reality was too intense to face. I wanted nothing more than to cook for us. My teeny tiny dream, the small fantasy I had for the two of us. Ignis reached his hand over Eel, who laid there collapsed in his blood. Eel's alive! Oh, God! Ignis wrapped his fingers around the angel's neck, lifting him up with ease. Then he opened his mouth wide. He slowly pulled Eel's unconscious body towards his gaping maw. It was easy to predict what he was going to do next. Stop him! Oh, Kotone, please stop him.
その価値観を変えたいと思ってベスティアのトップに立ったんだ。
Oh God, Kotone, stop him!
俺が誰の血も流さず魔獣の頂点に立てば少しぐらいは影響を受ける魔獣が出てくるかと思ったんだよ。
Don't let him... Oh God! No, 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 no! No! Please don't do this. Stop! Don't throw away who you are! Don't abandon your dream! Just before Ignis sank his fangs into Eel's flesh, he tossed the angel aside. I felt compelled to protect Eel, and I stood before Ignis with my arms outstretched. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Come back, Ignis! This is not you! This isn't why you changed your entire life, is it? I cried out at Ignis, trying to appeal to him with the first words that came to mind. But all my pleading could accomplish was redirecting the firewolf's ire towards me instead. Interrupted by severe throbbing pain, Ignis sank his razor-sharp fangs into my arm. But I realized it a moment too late, oh shoot, as my own blood splattered onto his face. Adrenaline numbed the pain, but my head spun. The only thing rooting me to my current predicament was the dreadful sound of my flesh being ripped apart. Ignis! My pleading voice never reached him. Ignis only sipped and licked the blood trickling down my arm and... Oh no! He ripped the piece of flesh off of me. Oh God! Did we get the bad ending? This cannot be right. Did she just lose her arm? Oh fuck, oh fuck. After neutralizing the Minotaurs, we hurried towards the fired wolf stronghold. What Mizir and the rest of the party witnessed was bad. Far-reaching patches of blood. Corpses thrown into haphazard piles. The relentless flames surrounding them. And Eel, who lined on the snow, unconscious. His wings were torn and bald, and his atrocious injuries dyed his hair and clothing in blood. To the side, we saw him bite into Cotone's arm, ripping off her flesh. It was one of our fellow Enchanté regulars. Our friend, or so we thought. Ignis. Oh Lord. Our once thought to-be ally wiped the splattered blood off his face, shooting a fearless glance in our direction. As we stood there stunned, the quickest to react to the tragic scene was Connus. Oh Lord. The swing of Connus' mighty sword blew Ignis back with a cannon's force. Under normal circumstances, the sheer power of Connus' attack would have torn Ignis' torso in half. But Ignis summoned a wall of flames to dull the impact of the knight's incoming strike, sparing himself from harm. Ignis moved purely on instinct. He twitched, realizing the path to his prey was obstructed, and showed his fangs. Ignis kicked at the ground, lunging at a speed too fast for the naked eye. And... Cotone, freed from Ignis' grasp, fell to her knees in excruciating pain. Blood begins to gush from her wounds, which she clamps with her free hand. The blood shows no sign of stopping. Connus and Ignis, meanwhile, were locked in a lightning-quick exchange of blows no human could see.
Cotone! Iru!
Rindo, you need to go home! You're too old for this! Mr. Mizir and Rindo sprinted over to the two wounded members, hastily tending to their injuries. They eyed each other and rushed in. Rindo went to Cotone, and Mizir went to Eel. They first cast a simple barrier to shield them from any impact from the duel. Mizir clutched Eel's blood-soaked body in his arms and cried out his name. No soft-spoken words escaped the angel's lips, and his breaths began to slow. Meanwhile... No small amount of blood began to pour down from Cotone's slender arm. Kotone was succumbing to traumatic shock from the punishing magnitude of pain, and her medic, Rindo, whose brow began to sweat as the pressure mounted, hesitated, asking her to remain calm.
そのまま傷を抑えて応急処置をするから。
Rindo fell back onto a practical solution, eyeing and ripping his handkerchief from his person to fashion a makeshift clotter. Witnessing this, Mizir... I am a destroyer. I do not possess the power to ease Kotone and Eel's pains. He gently stashed away his regret and set Eel upon the cold ground delicately. He then switched gears, honing in on the sole mission to stop Ignis. He raised his hand. Try as he might, Connis's blade could not penetrate either of Ignis's blazing fists. Although Connis's footwork was deftly tested by the pace of Ignis's heightened beastly movements, Connis blocked each of his foe's punches with ease, making a tense duel an even one. In the midst of all this, he did as instructed and limped back. Left open, Ignis reacted by immediately racing towards Connis, but... Once Mizir barked out his command, a spell was cast, and a large shadow swelled over Ignis's head. The shadow belonged to a giant iceberg, which soon... Oh! Oh shit! Was flung at an alarming velocity, ready to crush the body of its target upon impact. However, with the power of his attuned reflexes, Ignis ignited the flames, covering his body moments before impact. The flames burned at a temperature so intense the whole icy meteor nearly melted, dispersing it into shattered chunks. But nevertheless, the immense impact and blast from the heavy ball of ice was felt. At last, Ignis's eyes returned to normal, indicating that he had returned. Oh fuck, Ignis, no. Oh god, he ate his family. He ate the Minotaurs and he ate Kotone. It was loud. My head was being knocked around by some deafening explosion. Sharp bits of icicle floated down, tickling my skin. The red in my vision went away, reverting everything back to normal. I winced at the massive surge of shame. It occurred to me that I had no idea where I had been in the last couple hours. What was I doing? Where was I? Just as my vision cleared up and focus returned, Connis was the first to pop into vision. My breath left me as tall flames burned behind Connis, and the smell of smoke stung my nose. This is a nightmare. I refused to believe it. My throat tensed up. I couldn't speak. I looked around. Bodies of my kin and the corpses of the Minotaurs were stacked atop each other. Right in front of me, the tip of Connis' sword was pointed, shaking and cautious. Mizir and Rindo seemed guarded too, laying next to Mizir's feet. I saw Eel, mangled and torn up, covered in blood. And the one Rindo held in his arms was... Kotone clenched a patched-up spot on her arm, and her face was filled with terror. As soon as our eyes met, I reflexively gulped down something that was still in my mouth.
俺は何を飲み込んだんだ。
Why did it smell and taste of iron?
うすうす分かってるくせに現実逃避は良くないっすよ兄貴。
A pair of feet tap danced lightly around the massacred ground, approaching me.
にしてもいやー最高の光景っすね。
DROMI arrived, and unlike how Kotone looked at me fearfully,
これこそが本当の戦い。これこそが本当の魔獣のあるべき姿。やっぱりあの日あの時見た光景と俺の目に狂いはなかった。
DROMI's eyes glowed with an intense awe, dumbstruck as the flames towered behind my bloody body. I watched DROMI for a minute, then tossed him a throwaway question.
ドロミ、てめえ、今までのことは全部お前の仕業だったのか。アルムムの人間界への襲撃も、ベスティアに戻るたびに魔獣の襲撃を受けて大量の血が流れたのも、何もかもがお前が裏で仕組んだもんで、今ここで俺を暴走させるために。
イエス大正解。さすがは兄貴、勘が鋭いっすね。いやーでも邪魔だとばかり思ってた人間がこんなとこで役に立つとは。魔獣の血の匂いを嗅いだり浴びるだけじゃ計画がもっと長引いてたっすから。
Hearing the word blood, Colton's body jolted.
それよりも話が脱線してるっすよ。そろそろ現実を直視した方がいいっす。いいっすか兄貴。あんたはお優しい常連仲間をあんな風にズタボロにした挙句、そこの女の肉をその牙で引きちぎって、それはもう美味しそうに食っちゃったんすよ。
He accused Ignis with a deranged smile. His ridiculous claim, it seemed, was the answer we were looking for all along. A beast that eats. Stashed by a threatening veil of my ability to rampage was another, more terrifying ability which I alone had. After all, the Minotaurs had to drug themselves just to make an attempt on my life. The truth was, no one knew why the firewolves disappeared all those years ago. But the cost of learning all of this was just too great. Fueled by nothing more than rage, I swung my fist at DROMI. But despite how many swipes I took at DROMI, he evaded each blow by a hair. But they weren't perfect dodges. I managed to yank his favorite bandana with my fist, and it glided to the ground. Oh! Something weird happened. It was as if DROMI's expression changed at the drop of his bandana.
やっとだ。これで俺の望みが叶う。やっぱアンシャンテにいたふぬけたあんたは偽物だ。最悪の血を継ぐ命ぐらいの化け物はこうでなくちゃ。
A cannibalistic monster. The words hit me in the gut. It was time I accepted my destiny. I caused the destruction of this place. I dropped to my knees. The crimson-stained snow, the sobering stench of charred iron. To think that all those who fester inside of me... I tried my best to purge my body of it all, but I couldn't. Despair, loss, rage. These emotions are shoved down my throat, ready to burst on a whim. I roar so loud the heavens quake. But there To make a mockery of it all is, of course.
さあこんなくだらない殺戮の世界はもう終わる。これからはあんたの時代だよ、イグニス・カリブンクルス。いや、古より復活したすべての命を食らい尽くす生きる最悪バナル。
The heretic of doom had resurrected in fire. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Ignis, no! 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 This is so bad. Oh, God, that entire episode was a trigger warning.
昔々
We're gonna stop here. Oh my god. Oh my god. How is Ignis gonna recover from this? How, like, he literally ate his family. He ate them. How, oh my god. If I, like, lost my mind and I woke up and I realized that I ate my whole family, I would be so sick to my stomach. Like, I feel sick to my stomach for him. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, next episode is probably going to be the final one. I said that earlier, the last episode, but I think the next episode is it. Final chapter. DROMI will tell us a story and we'll see how this turns out, I guess.